Now the Indian market does see a lot of car launches every now and then, but some cars over the years really fill a particular set of requirements very well and hence become really successful and popular for the buyers looking for new cars. Kia, on the other hand, has seen success with all of their cars that they've launched in the Indian market, and now their fourth product is this, the Kia Carens. And yes, that is how it is pronounced. Now what Kia is trying to do with the Carens is that they're trying to fulfill not one but two sets of requirements. They're saying the Carens is a mix of both SUVs as well as an MPVs. So today we're going to see just how good the Carens fares on both of those fronts. In terms of design, the Carens does look bigger when you see it in person as compared to when you see it in pictures, and that is a result of the kind of design that it has. It is modern and not bulky in a traditional sense. However, the size of the car is big enough to give it that big car feel. I quite liked how there is attention to detail at the front grille and also on the chrome elements at both front and the back. It is only from the sides where the Carens looks MPV-ish. This is also when you would want larger wheels so that it keeps up with the character of the rest of the car. In simple words, the Carens has good presence on road and it does stand out. So you see, the Carens does bring that SUV flavor in the dimensions and in the way it looks, and that continues over here as well, because you sit quite upright, you have a commanding driving position, you have good visibility thanks to these large glass panels, and you sit quite high as well, so it does give you that SUV feel. Adding to that SUV feel is the fact that the Carens is much longer and also taller than the Kia Seltos. The Carens in fact has the longest wheelbase in the segment, which overshadows not only the Kia Seltos and the Hyundai Alcatraz but is also more than the Toyota Innova Krista. With that, let's get back to the interiors. Let's talk about the interior aspects, and you'll see as I walk you through the front row, then the middle row and the last row that it has great practicality features. Let's start with what it gets, which is a wireless charging pad, so you can just put in your phone over there and it will start charging. Good addition. The infotainment system does support Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but here it is not a wireless system, and I think that is a bit of a miss. Now talking about the infotainment system, it has a great touch response, great design, easy to use. The visibility is not that great, but it gets the job done. This is a good setup as always. You also have a digital instrument cluster behind the steering wheel, and yes, it might be a digital screen, but I have to be honest, I'm not a big fan of it because I want to know whatever is going on with the car in one glance, and with the way everything is laid out, I think it's a bit overdone. So this might be a digital screen, but honestly I'm not a big fan of it. What I am a big fan of is the fit and finish on the dashboard. It's of top-notch quality. Everything looks great. You also have this nice purple tint on the steering wheel. It looks really nice. And you also have this design on the dash running over here. Keep in mind though that whenever somebody sits in the car, that's the first thing that they will touch, and this is all gloss, so you'll have a lot of fingerprints that you'll be wiping away. But nevertheless, there are a lot of shades and colors used here, stacked against each other, but it all works and it all looks good. You even have a continuous theme going on with the AC vents, but keep in mind they're only at their conventional places. But you have nice controls over the vent position, and you also have knurled finish on the fan and temperature control. Speaking of which, the aircon controls are all touch based, and so are all the buttons on the infotainment system, so you really have to take your eyes off the road in order to operate all of that. But thankfully you have a physical volume knob, so thankfully at least you have that. You also get a lot of practicality features. You have a lot of spaces to put in your water bottles, and you also have a cooled cup holder here in the middle. The armrest also opens up. You can take out the tray, and that opens up so much more space over here. The Carens also makes smart use of space, as it has a retractable cup holder on the passenger side and a small retractable compartment on the driver's side, which can be used for coins and slips. And last but not least, it also comes with a sunroof. But as you'll see,
it's not a very big one, and there's a good reason for that. And in order to tell you that, I need to step back into the middle row, so let's do that. Well, here we are in the middle row of the Kia Carens, and here's the reason why you don't get a very big sunroof, because instead you get these individual AC vents for the middle seat passengers, and I think that's a much better addition than having a large glass slab on top of your head, especially given how extreme the summer conditions are in our country. Now, let's talk about the middle seat experience. The front seat has been set as per my height, and you can see I still have a lot of room. Of course, I can recline the seat and move it front and back as well. But what you realize being here is that it's a very comfortable seat. Of course, this is the 6-seater version of the Carens that we are testing, so you get captain seats over here, but you can opt for the 7-seater version, and in that one, you'll get a bench over here.
Also, in this 6-seater version, there is ample space between the two captain seats in the middle row, so moving between the rows for anyone will not be a problem.
In front of you over here on this side of the middle row is an air purifier. Really important, especially in a place like Delhi where we are testing this. And on the other side, what you get is actually a tray. Now that has a cup holder, and it also has a slot for you to put in your tablet and whatever you want to put in here and see whatever you want to see. And it also has a bit of a grippy material in the middle. Good attention to detail. And speaking of which, since it has a tray over here, there is a net so you can keep your smartphone, and of course there's a pocket as well so you can keep your stuff. But what I really like is that you have a couple of USB-C ports, and those are really future-proofing because in the future everything is going to be USB-C, so all your newer gadgets that you will buy over the course of owning this car, you will be able to use them in the car because you have a couple of USB-C ports. And here's the good part. Say you're seated here, you're using the tablet on the tray and you've put it on charge. Now you will see that there is a small thing here to hold the wire as well. I mean, could Kia have skipped it? Surely, but they didn't. And that's the kind of thing that makes you like the car a lot more. Now, let's get back to the last row of seats. Now I've come to this side of the car for a special reason, because in order to access the last row, if I do that from this side of the middle row, I get access to a very nice feature, perhaps one of the most impressive features of the Carens, which is this. So you press this button and you'll see what happens. And the entire tumble down procedure happens by itself. That's a lot of hard work saved over a long run. Now let's get to the rear seat. As you can see, getting in is quite easy, and once I raise the seat up, you can see I have a good amount of space over here as well. Now usually these 7-seaters with a +2 seat, they're meant for kids, but I can safely say adults can sit here as well. For reference, I'm 5'10", I'm fairly large, and I can fit in here quite easily. I also have adjustable headrests, which is a great addition, and if I want to pull off a lever, I can recline the seat and get really comfortable in here. It is actually quite comfortable. I also have a cubby hole so I can keep my smartphone. It's actually quite long, so I can put in a tablet or something if your kids want to do that. And here's the good part, both sides get individual USB-C ports, so no fighting, I guess. You also get individual rear AC vents for both the rear passengers, and I think that is a great addition. Now in terms of comfort, I can sit in here for longer durations, and once I'm here, I can actually have a pretty good view of everything that's going on out in the front, and as a result, it does not feel suffocated over here. All in all, the Kia Carens has one of the best 7-seater experiences in this price bracket.
Now let's talk about how the Kia Carens drives, and very honestly, I'm going to keep this short and simple. The Carens is not meant for enthusiasts, as it has a relaxed driving experience, and the drivetrain feels the best when it is driven with a light foot. However, the refinement is great and sound insulation is good too. What's great though is the way the Carens is set up to tackle our roads, as the driving experience is good even if you're driving it alone or if the car is filled with passengers. It has the same drivetrain as the Seltos, but since it is bigger and can carry more people, the Carens is strictly a family car.
So there you have it. This is the Kia Carens for you, and for me, the most impressive part about the car has to be its practicality and its attention to detail at being a very good family car. It has an introductory starting price of 9 lakh rupees, so it will go up a little bit. So make sure to reach out to your dealer and ask for the latest price of this car. But nevertheless, that increase is not going to be a lot, and at what it stands right now, this is incredible value for money. It's safe to say that Kia has hit it out of the park once again with the Kia Carens.